Hello and welcome to our virtual time clock training series. In this video, we'll be covering how to set up the lunch shift rules. Now, these rules can help prevent overtime from adding up and require that employees are taking a full meal break. So let's go ahead and take a look at how these work. So with virtual time clock open, we're going to go to File, Turn Administration On. And then from the toolbar, we're going to choose Configure, and then we're going to go to the Shift Rules button. Now we have other videos that cover how to create the shift rules and then, the clock in rules, clock out rules, assigning them to employees, all of that. So today we're just going to take a look at the lunch rules, this middle tab here. And before we jump in, a couple things. The length of the lunch right here, whether it's 60 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever you had set that to, that's what the time clock is going to be using to enforce these rules. So it's important to understand that relationship there. And then as we jump into these rules, instead of clocking out into or logging out into user mode each time I set up a rule, I actually created screenshots to show you what employees see when they encounter one of these rules. All right, so let's get started with this very first rule. So certain states require that lunch be provided within a certain number of hours after the employee has started working. So this first rule just allows you to enforce that rule. So I can choose a courtesy start if lunch exceeds a certain number of hours worked. So in my case, let's just say 2, for example. All right, so what employees will see with this rule in place is you're starting lunch after 2 hours worked and that they were not discouraged from starting their lunch on time. And so this just allows employees to kind of sign this off as they're punching out for lunch. It's an easy way to just let them take the lunch if you did not prevent that, okay? You can also set that to be a prevent start. And if you do that, the difference is instead of being able to go ahead and punch out by putting in their password, the employee would need to get a manager or an administrator involved to get them punched out for lunch. So it kind of just keeps management in the loop on that. All right. The next rule is the courtesy early return acknowledging full lunch period. All right. And so what this means is that an employee can come back from their lunch break early but acknowledge that they're going to actually start work at the end of their lunch break, okay? So this rule would look like this. Again, it allows a courtesy return before their lunch is officially ended. And again, that goes by the duration of the lunch and the lunch clock out time, okay? And you'll see, you probably noticed when I clicked the courtesy early return, it also went ahead and put a checkbox by the prevent early return. And that's because if you just have the courtesy early return from lunch enabled, an employee could punch out for lunch and then immediately punch back in with this courtesy early return and then go off site or otherwise abuse the lunch period. So you want them to at least be in the office a certain number of minutes before their lunch should be ending. So that's what that's why these are related like that, okay? But you can have a prevent early return. Let's change this to 5. You can have a prevent early return set up independent. And all that means is that if an employee comes back early from lunch, it'll refuse to allow them to punch in within a certain number of minutes. Okay, so if I go here, it's too early to punch in. You need to come in within 5 minutes of your scheduled lunch end time. And again, they can like it says here, they can get a manager or an administrator to help them log in. All right, and then the last rule here, prevent late return. Let's go with 5 again. This just means that if an employee comes back after their lunch was supposed to end, it'll prevent them from punching back in. So again, they would need to get management involved so that there's somebody who knows what's going on. And that rule looks like this. It's too late to return from lunch. You're 6 minutes late. Scheduled return was a certain time. All right. So that's how the lunch rules work. Pretty straightforward. If you need more information about the clock in rules or the clock out rules, you can visit our knowledge base. If you have additional questions about virtual time clock, please visit our website to give us a call or send an email to service@redcourt.com.